All right. So now we have canceled out the 1.3, so we have the n alone. But what we do on one side of the equal sign, we need to do on the other. So, Aiden, what do I do on the other side?
You would add.
I would divide by 1.3, right? Make it like a big cannonball, sorry. All right, 1.3. So, on your calculator, you can do it. And what do you come up with? Well, if we were to do it like long division, we would move that negative 8.97 down, but we can't divide by decimals. So I have to move that decimal over one place, which means over here I have to move that decimal over one place. And then I'm left with 89 divided by 13. How many times does 13 go into 89? 6. What's 6 times 13?
6 times 13.
78. That gives us how much left over?
3.
Let's bring that 7 down because we can't divide 13 into 11. So how many times can 13 go into 117? 9. What is 13 times 9?
13 times 9. 117.
It sure does.
Again.
So we have 0 left. So our answer is 6.9. Now, because we had a positive and a negative, if you look on the wall at the rules for integer operations, when you multiply and divide and you have two different signs, you have a negative answer. So it is negative 6.9. So now I'm going to rewrite what I have left. And what I have left is n equals negative 6.9. And I will box that out because that is my final answer.
Number 35.
That was number 5, yeah.
Oh, I did.
All right, so let's go to number 6. Just because they're fractions doesn't mean we solve it any differently. So
We're almost done.
we are almost done. I'm going to do it. I'm going to put the problem over here so I have more room. So it's negative 5 over 11h plus 7/9 equals 2/9, right? So let's look at that problem. I want to get the variable, which is the h, alone on one side of the equal sign at the end of the problem. So I need to move the other number first, which is the 7/9. So because it isn't a positive number, I'm going to use a negative 7/9 to cancel it out, right? And that will cancel to 0. So now I'm going to come here, and I'm going to say 2/9 minus 7/9 equals what? What's 2 minus 7?
2 minus 7 is 5.
Negative 5, right? Negative 5/9. So now I'm going to rewrite what I have left. It was, and what I have left is negative 5 over 11h equals negative 5/9. So what kind of problem is that? Is that a add, subtract, multiply, or divide? Michelle, when you look at that problem, what does it look like? Add, subtract, multiply, or divide? I'm using that multiply glue dot to stick that fraction and that letter together, right? Because that invisible multiply sign is right there. So if I want to pull them apart, I have to use the opposite of multiply. What's the opposite of multiply?
Divide.
Totally. So I am going to divide by negative 5 over 11, which will cancel that out for 0. And what I do on one side, I have to do on the other. Can I divide fractions? No.
Yeah.
No. It's called keep, change, flip. That's right. So keep, change, flip gives me, I'm keeping the negative 5/9. I'm changing the division to multiplying, right? Making a big old multiply sign. Now I have to flip and get 11, 5, and it's still negative. So now, is there anything I can cross cancel here?
The 5s.
The 5s. 5 goes into 5 one time, right? Makes it 1 and a 1. Now, I just have to multiply. What's negative 11 times 1?
11.
Negative 11, right?
9.
And then what's 9 times 1?
9.
9. So I got 11 and 9. I had 2 negatives. If I look at the wall for integer operations, if I have 2 of the same sign, I have a positive answer. So it's not going to be a negative 11/9. It's going to be a positive 11/9. Now, if you were taking this on the AZ Merit, you would change it back into to a mixed number instead of an improper fraction. So 9 goes into 11 one time with 2 left over. So it would be 1 and 2/9. But I want you to keep it this way for when we get to slope, because you will need an improper fraction, not a mixed number. So here I'm going to rewrite what I have left. And what I have left is h equals 11/9. Then I box that out because that is my final answer. Jose, let me ask you a question. The first problem, the 3a minus 5 equals negative 14. What is the first thing I move from one side of the equal sign over to the other so I can have the variable a alone?
5.
The 5, that's right. And it was a negative 5. So what's how do I move it over? What do I use? Do I subtract 5? A positive 5. Very good. Did you take the notes down? Thank you. All right. Do you guys have questions about what we just did? Are you sure? You very sure? Okay. All right. So let me go here.
Jerry did this to me.
What did what?
It's purple. It's
You
getting
already
sweat.
figured out.
All right.
Well, it's still purple when I do.
So
Because you can't erase the pencil off the skin.
if I were to